Well, good afternoon, and welcome to a friendly fireside 5 minutes of Nuance with Phil Pfanstiel. Now, there's something very interesting about being by a fireside. It's actually a fantasy of mine. Okay, that's a little awkward. It's a fantasy of mine to be with friends, hanging out by a fire, solving the world's problems. I'm weird. I think most of us want to make the world a better place. So how do we do that? I'm going to quote myself. I know I'm wrong. I just don't know where. My brother, who disagrees with me on a lot of subjects, he loves it. He brings it back up. Hey, I love that quote of yours, Philip. I don't know what he's suggesting, but I do know I'm wrong. I just don't know where. I think I'm right, but I've lived enough of life to know that I'm probably wrong on a lot of areas. And so that's where I need other people and other ideas and other inputs to correct issues. Now, is it fun being corrected? No, absolutely not. But that's where we need other people. I mean, our brains, there's something called confirmation bias, cognitive dissonance, and then we kind of create echo chambers. There's also these algorithms that basically kind of reinforce this idea that we're right and everybody else is wrong. That's where it is so important to have friends that'll hang out by a fireside and argue with you and call you on your crap and say, yeah, Phil, that's really not a good idea. That here's a problem with that. I saw this quote this morning. It says, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. And I love that. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. There's something about that. We like to be right, and I call it the gamification of truth. All right, we pick a side. It's like in sports. In sports, there's something called the zero-sum game. If I play a game of chess with you, I win, you lose. -1, +1, zero-sum game. Same thing with Risk, except for 12 hours later, and many temper tantrums. But we won't go there. I don't think truth is that way. I think it's a win-win. I think real life and real fireside chats and real discussion, the nuances in finding out, oh wait, I hadn't considered that. Oh, that's an interesting point of view. Now, how quick are we to do that? Well, that has to do with humility, which humility is hard, all right? None of us are going to be like, wow, that's a good point. But when was the last time you were in an argument with somebody and you just stopped and were like, you know what? Actually, I think you're right. I think I've been seeing this all wrong. Try it. It'll freak out your friends. Be a great little party trick. So I'm going to limit these videos to 5 minutes, edit out stuff. And I love the idea of actually limiting oneself. Reminds me of one of the best films, Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail. And in that film, they didn't have a lot of money. They didn't have money to hire horses. So they used the coconuts. And it was hilarious, and it was a running gag, and it was almost like they did it on purpose. No, they actually were limited by their budget, and it caused creativity. Nuance. Nuance is important, and nuance complicates things, right? Because we like to have everything neatly packaged. This is my truth, this is my understanding. Nuance is organic. It actually, when things are complicated, when you have kids playing or leaves falling or dogs, my own dogs jumping on the windows, it creates this nuance. This is real. This is life. There's an interesting idea. When things are too perfect, we suspect manipulation. It's manufactured. And speaking of nuance, there is no fire here. So, this fireside chat, there's no fire. I wonder how many of us in our own lives, in our discussions with friends that are understanding, the fire's gone. Now, fire can be destructive, but it also can be creative. How many of us are missing that fire? We're so afraid of being offended, of being pissed off, that we just avoid the truth. We don't want people to correct. We have a tightly packaged understanding, and we're just good with this. So I was an educator for 18 years, and in education there's this idea that I love. It's called a growth mindset. And a growth mindset is, are you able to grow? Are you able to rewire your brain? Now, to rewire the neurons and the dendrites and so forth takes a lot of energy, okay? But they're in that rewiring of the brain, that's growth. Growth mindset is this idea of staying malleable, staying humble, allowing new inputs, allowing new sources, and questioning our own things. And I think that's how we get to solving the world's problems. The first thing we're going to investigate in the series is what's up with Israel. Now, that's a big question, a lot of nuance. It's complicated. So it's going to be multiple 5-minute segments on each on a different topic. And I'm not coming at it from an anti-Israel point of view, nor am I coming at it from an Israel apologist. Now, my bias is I'm pro-Israel. You know, I'm for the Jewish people, but I'm for everybody. I want to solve the world's problems, not create more problems. So, but that's my bias. All right, but that's part of the investigation. You got to understand each other's biases, and that's where honesty comes in. That's where we get to understand each other, and where we can sit by a fire, maybe next time with an actual fire in it, and discuss things and solve problems. Trigger warning. I'm getting into with a Hebraic parting. Shalom.